times the original estimate. Almost 15
Check one.
no-bid contract to a company that had done work at a Trump golf club. Finally, President Trump says he has big plans for what he calls the Trump Kennedy Center. There's no doubt that this building and this area out back
Check one.
Potomac River looks a little bit worn and beaten down. Could use a renovation. The sense is they might have much more in mind than a simple renovation. The National Trust has also joined a lawsuit with several other groups
Check one.
to stop any Trump construction at the
Check
Kennedy
one.
Center without congressional approval. The administration
Check
says
one.
the work there will affirmatively fulfill the board's responsibilities to repair and improve the center. Are you concerned that the Kennedy Center could go the way of the East Wing? That they could actually tear down?
One reason why the suit requests a preliminary injunction.
So you are concerned that they could literally knock good chunks of the Kennedy Center down?
We'd like that not to happen.
Yeah.
Thanks to John Carl, the roundtable's up next. Let me just set the record straight.
Here I am.
Our country is about one individual. And if someone doesn't understand that and attempts to control others through using the levers of power, they are about serving themselves. They're not about serving us.
Okay, here we go.
That person does not qualify to be a leader.
Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did another food show today. It's been about time. It's almost rusty. And I thought it was fun. I thought it was good. I miss it. It's definitely a show that kind of requires two people. I kind of feel like it does. So I drafted somebody about halfway through today. But give it a shot if you'd like to. All right, Sunday shows. Trump, China didn't bring anything back. Good. That's what the Sunday shows are saying. And he's corrupt and he's making money, hands over fist, and the sons are making money. So he is definitely making money. And Trump has, you could say this is a conflict of interest. I don't think he's doing anything illegal at all. I just think that they've empowered him to say, F it. If I can do it, we're going to do it. And people are going to call me a Nazi no matter what we do, so let's just go. And so they've made money off of this, that, and this and that. Once again, I don't think he's doing anything illegal. I do think it doesn't, I mean, they've cried wolf too much. And now he doesn't care. He's like totally empowered. He does whatever he wants to do. That's probably not a great thing. But then again, the whole family are in business. They've always been in business. And like, there's a lot of other people who went through the White House and made a lot of money off of it. And the last guy was wretched street level, using the White House to sell influence. So spare me. I don't care. I'm not bothered by it. To bring on Jamie Raskin to talk about how unethical Trump is, give me an effing break. That dude should be in prison. Him and Adam Schiff should be in jail. Like, I don't care. We'll see what they've got in China, if they have anything. Trump really likes Xi a lot, so he just likes him. That's just how it is. But I hope that we don't do anything that will compromise our AI initiatives, including I don't trust the Chinese. So when they say they want to work with us, it's like, yeah, you want to steal the stuff, and no, thank you. I do think it's good that Trump sent so many CEOs there with him. That's good. It's good to have relationships with that country. It's an influential country. They are our rival. They're not quite yet our actual enemy. There's no war yet. I do think that we should be trying to preserve Taiwan as well. I just think it's good. It's smart, and it's in our interest. I was listening today to another podcast, the All In podcast, and they had somebody on, one of these zillionaires on, who said, in 2 years, we're not going to need Taiwan. We're not going to need the chips are producing and whatever else. He said, so just make the deal. So, but he doesn't care. Like humanitarian wise, what that does, freedom wise, what that does. I think it's good for us to have influence around the world. But I'm a neocon, as you know. Let me get to some of the audio. It's interesting. The AI talk. I'm really surprised about how many conservatives now want to put the brakes on this AI stuff. And I don't want there to be. Obviously, I don't want to drain the water or use all the electricity. And if somebody wants to build a data center, they should come with a package and remuneration, remittance, whatever it's called. When Jay Cashman, built the Big Dig tunnels, he also made the Greenway. That was it. Is it remediation? I think that is. These people come with offers, and if they can have a self-sufficient generation, that's great. That's great. But it's going to be up to these locales to cut a good deal with them. A lot of people on the left were saying we don't like the AI because it's dangerous and the AI is invasive. So their problem mostly isn't the data center. But Matt Walsh really, he attacked the data centers too as being unsightly, as being bad for the environment. We've had data centers for 50 years. We've already had a whole bunch. What do you think how email works and how the Amazon world servers work? I mean, these are in big facilities around. We have data centers. We also have big Amazon package centers. I know two of them. One's down in Haverhill. It's huge. And one's where that mall used to be in Revere. It's a huge Amazon. You guys still want your packages, and you're going to want all the stuff that AI can give you. I don't know the reticence. Let's listen to a little bit of Matt Walsh on this here. I'll pop in right around here.
It's not something you take for granted. If you're hesitant to jump straight into traditional options for collective, the latest polling, the Democrats' leading candidate for president in 2 years. This is one of the more prominent cases from Georgia. Watch.
This is our cold water pressure in the kitchen. This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet?
Yeah, and this is what's in all the pipes.
Just the well itself is probably $20,000, and that's not counting any of the faucets.
Let me skip to where this is some of the physical problem the data centers, the building of them does.
The air hits the wet cooling pads and then the heat dissipates. These are often closed loop systems, so the water isn't being wasted, but it's still putting a strain on many communities. This from the New York Times reporting out of Georgia, quote, Newton County is on track to be in a water deficit by 2030. If the local water authority cannot upgrade its facilities, residents could be forced to ration water. Meta's data center uses about 10% of the county's total water use daily, said Mike Hopkins, the executive director of the Newton County Water.
And the point is made in there that golf courses use more. But listen, let me see if I can get him on the privacy.
From Mike Cernovich on X was making this point, and a few others. A well-trained AI is designed to draw accurate inferences about human behavior based on a near infinite data set. If you use the internet, then it's all but guaranteed that Google and Meta have an enormous amount of data about your political opinions, your hobbies, your location, even when you're not at home. And if they wanted to, these companies could tell the authorities precisely what you're doing, who you're with at any given second. They could provide a complete breakdown of your health issues, your mood, your goals in life, your fears and anxieties. And they could predict with a high degree of certainty what you're going to do next. How much are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness worth?
So here's the
you?
spot
This
now.
is a question America's founders had to answer more than 150.
But everybody can always do that now. Or somewhere in Facebook messages, if you're DMing somebody with Snapchat, if you're doing on Twitter DMing somebody, even if you're using Signal or all the apps that all the cheating spouses use. You don't think somewhere somebody's reading that stuff? It's like, please. Or has it? If you're putting yourself out there, you're putting yourself out there. I don't get it. That when you're typing, when you're accepting cookies and things like that, I will now, since I said the word cookies, there'll be cookies on my feed, and I'll order them. But I don't see. I mean, this is the new like electricity. This AI and data centers are everything. Everything. Maybe you're like me, and I know some of you have been toying, like messing around, having fun with AI for a few years because we're in text threads. But I have in the last calendar year increased my AI usage by 600%. I use it a lot of times in lieu of Photoshop, which I used to have to use to crop and touch up pictures. I obviously use it recreationally to mess with Alice, obviously, but I absolutely use it. I'm finding it. I use it to write. I use it for headline ideas. I use it. I don't. Sometimes I use it to create. If it's drawing from a source that I know and I know is reliable, I'll use it to create a story, and then I'll customize it to look at me like a news story. For instance, there's a news story today that we've got on the main wire about JD Vance, and it's sourced from inside sources. Michael Graham's in a Michael Graham article. So I had it source that, and I went in there. It produced me something, which was just a shorter summary of what was there. And I changed a few things, and I humaned it up. But it just did a lot of the legwork that I would have had to do. And then I grabbed it's funny, because then I grabbed a picture that one of our photogs took of JD Vance in Maine, and I tried to impose the Inside Sources logo onto the photo, and neither Grok nor Gemini could do it. They wouldn't listen to it. They wouldn't do it. So I had to go back to Photoshop. So that's one of the things that it's not perfect, but really it's the right has really turned on this, and I'm kind of surprised. And I know that like there is what is it called? There is some crossover now with the left and the far right here that we're seeing. So it's not everything, but like the Matt Walsh, and I'll say Tucker, although not quite the same, wing of the party has now it's a very hybrid heterodox issue set that they have now, and it's some of the issues are very close to progressive issues. This is Ken Griffin. Who's he, the Palantir guy? Let's see, hang on. But this is him on AI talking about what he's seen. He's saying it's more powerful than he ever thought. He's a hedge fund manager of Citadel. Okay. And so here's Ken Griffin on AI. I thought this was interesting because he even to him, things have sped up much quicker than he thought they would.
Let me just, share a few thoughts with you on this. Number one is, in the last few months, there has been a step change function in the productivity of the AI toolkit. It is profoundly more powerful than it was just 9 months ago. And for us at Citadel, that has allowed us to unleash a much broader array of use cases for AI. And it has been really interesting to watch, to be blunt, work that we would usually do with people with masters and PhDs in finance over the course of weeks or months being done by AI agents over the course of hours or days. So these are not mid-tier white-collar jobs. These are like extraordinarily high-skilled jobs being, I'm going to pick a word, being automated by agentic AI. And I got to tell you, I went home one Friday actually fairly depressed by this, because you could just see how this was going to have such a dramatic impact on society. And when you witness it in your own four walls, when you see work that used to be man-years of work being done in days or weeks,
yeah,
it's like, wow, that's the first time I've seen real impact in our four walls.
Yeah, so I know that that's jarring, and now more than ever, if you're a lawyer out there, man, find a niche, or really like a paralegal, I guess, because all this this grunt work and leg work that you usually would have to do. I had a friend who, when I wrote my terrible screenplay in the 90s, he did work for John Hancock. He was a lawyer. He did work for John Hancock because there was some class action suit that took years and years, and they essentially have him and the other lawyers pour through stuff and insert data into essentially Excel spreadsheets. And, that job was always there for him. So he quit and then would go back and quit and go back. They were always looking for legions of lawyers. They don't need that guy anymore. Or the other legions of lawyers for that. So, that would be gone. I also think Alice has talked about this. Teachers, that's going to be a tough one. That might be a good thing in a lot of ways. So how about colleges? Alice and I were talking yesterday about, some colleges are folding now. And why wouldn't they? They're so top heavy with administration that in the population of incoming students has dropped. So these colleges are folding, which I'm sorry, and I know this is cynical, actually makes me kind of happy in a way. I don't know. I'm not a college guy, so maybe that's it. Oh yeah, by the way, I apologize for my grubbiness. I have been going in and out doing yard work today, so this isn't me. So yeah, but I don't. I mean, it's already going to come. We need to embrace it. I want data centers everywhere. I want them around here. I would rather have them where I am. I would rather have fewer McMansions and cul-de-sacs and places called Fox Farm that has no farm anymore. I would like to see that. I have no problemo with that at all. Okay, let me go through a little bit of audio here for a second. We'll go here and there, all around the square. We'll go for Graham Plattner because he's did this New York Times interview, and for the first time, I think this guy's starting to list badly. Here's him with the New York Times talking about going to war.
We destroyed Iraq. And we destroyed Afghanistan. And all...
Afghanistan was destroyed. I mean, it's destroyed. It was destroyed before we got there. Afghanistan is not really a country. But Iraq is doing not too bad right now. But we bombed the crap out of Iraq. There's no doubt about that. It was a big war and then a civil war.
The suffering, all the killing, all the dying.
Oh, shut up. God. That's war, Graham. I love it when people extract all of the features of war and put them in isolation so we can say, look at all the murders and all the assaults and all, war is a big freaking mess.
All the displacement, all of it. And that I'm ashamed of. The anger that I feel is for the people that sent me, who are, frankly, still the same people who are sending people off.
This guy enlisted while there was a war on. And he's angry that somebody sent him. Nobody sent you. You sent yourself. God, what a late. I think people don't like this crap. And this guy's entire story doesn't check out. The New York Times has so many inconsistencies in his story. He's lied about everything. And the timing of when he said he learned things and the Nazi tattoo, all that stuff, it has come out. And there are some people on the left who do not like him. And a lot of people on the left don't totally hate Susan Collins.
Right now, to go but be in harm's way so we can start and have this stupid war with Iran. I mean, Susan Collins voted to send me to Iraq. And she's also there to help Donald.
No, she didn't. She didn't vote to send you to anybody. You went to Iraq. You enlisted, and then there was a war. No, there was a war, and then you enlisted. So, yeah, one of the places you go when you're a soldier is to the war.
Trump continue this absolutely insane conflict in the Straits of Hormuz. So
there's really nothing insane about it whatsoever. Let me find more Plattner here. There's some other good stuff in the news that I like a lot. Let's see. Here's another one with him and the New York Times reporter.
Can I ask you about something else? You wrote in 2018 about armed resistance to fascism. You said, quote, an armed working class is a requirement for economic justice. How do you think about that now?
As a student of history, it is difficult for me to not see elements of that as being like a reality, especially in resistance to fascism. We didn't beat the Nazis with smiles. we did beat them with a war. I don't think it's a very controversial statement.
Well,
to tell you the truth.
Iran is the Nazis now.
I mean, I guess in the context of political violence, some might see it as worrying.
Well, to be fair, I was talking about it as a private citizen with no visibility, and mostly just talking about what I thought
you were honest.
Was a very clear historical reality, which I would say it's still true. I mean, historically, fascism has been beaten with armed resistance and conflict. I mean, World War II was mostly us and the Russians.
Yeah, right. And who was on the other side, and why do you have their tattoo? I thought he was bulletproof before, politically. I don't really think so anymore. There's another great cut here of him. Hang on. So, here's great. She goes in a litany of some Plattner quotes.
There are controversial statements also on social media. You posted over 1,800 comments under the username phustle from 2009 to November 2021, and some of them are objectively concerning.
2009 to 2021, he couldn't get off Reddit for 12 years.
You said rural Mainers are racist and stupid. You said that sexual assault victims should take responsibility for themselves. This all came out in the national press.
Yeah.
Why didn't you disclose this stuff first?
Oh, I mean, we did. We released all of the comments. I mean, when people came to us, they're like, "Oh, we've got a couple little ones," and we were like, "I mean, there's a lot more than a couple," so we just put everything out there.
You did delete them though before the campaign launched.
I deleted them a while ago.
There are controversial statements.
So he's getting caught in all these inconsistencies. And it's just starting to look like, Janet Mills hasn't laid a hand on Janet Mills. Susan Collins hasn't laid a glove on him yet. And when she does, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him. He did give, and I won't play it because it's just graphic, but he did give a good answer to why he has PTSD, which is just a graphic thing that he went through that I have no reason to not believe him, although he's got a problem generally with the truth. Okay, let me see what else I get to here. Here's AOC. For some reason, she was giving she's your front runner, by the way, for president for the Democrats. For some reason, she was giving a talk behind bulletproof glass, which is something I assume they'll be doing over the weekend. Here she is.
It is time for the North to pull up to the South. It is time for New York to pull up to Alabama.
I don't know why she's using this intonation, acting as if she's some kind of civil rights queen or something. And what she's saying it's time to pull up the slang. That's like pull up on like a rival gang member. This is a front runner.
It is time for all of us to come to Georgia, to Louisiana, to Tennessee, to Mississippi, and let them know exactly what they have uncorked with this injustice. They think they can draw us out of power. They do not.
This is Democrats complaining that there are no more racist districts anymore because the Republicans have taken race out of it, using race because it's unconstitutional.
No, the sleeping giant that they just awakened.
You don't have built-in racism and built-in union support as Democrats. You're not the sleeping giant anymore.
Because it is not a coincidence, and our whole country must understand.
To be sure, they still have the unions.
Understand that it was not until voting rights were ratified in this country that we got the Great Society.
Whoa.
Because when Black Americans...
There was nothing worse for Black Americans than the Great Society. You still encourage the Black women to marry the government, which they have now, and now it's been 65 years now, and how's the Black experience going in marginalized communities?
Have the right to vote, and that vote is protected. Our schools get funded. When voting...
Well, yeah, that's right, and you still have the right to vote. Everybody has the right to vote. Still there. And as a matter of fact, what the Republicans are trying to do is make it more secure by having an ID.
Rights are protected, health care gets expanded. When voting rights are protected, country moves forward. In Montgomery, that's what they're actually afraid of. They're afraid of us coming together. They're afraid of us protecting one another. Alabama is the crucible. Georgia is the crucible. Tennessee, Louisiana, Mississippi is the crucible. So if you are not from here, it is time to pull up.
Pull up.
Because what they thought was the final blow is actually just the opening silo.
The opening silo. I don't know what to name today's podcast. So she is obviously attractive, but she is not very bright. But that's your star. That's the front runner for the Democrats. Does it matter that she's not smart? Probably not. As long as she studies, as long as she hustles, as long as she's better than Kamala Harris, who just was so lazy, she just didn't do anything. Could have done better, but she was just lazy, and so that she just spoke off the top of her head, and it was terrible. James Tallarico's the Texas guy who's this really creepy dude running for Congress, right? And he's a weird. Think of Jacob Fry and Twinkle Toes, Tim Walz as well. This guy is creepy. Oh, and he loves trans stuff.
Is also domination. And in a democracy,
let me get back here.
Again, I think we have to have a real conversation within the church, within Christian communities, about what is our relationship with power. Because in my mind, as a Christian, power that is not shared is also domination. And in a democracy, it's all about sharing power. We acknowledge that power is real and that it has consequences, and we commit to sharing that together as a nation, as communities. And I think that's where we have to strive. Theocracy, in my mind, is the most dangerous form of government, because the only thing worse than a tyrant is a tyrant who thinks they're on a mission from God.
An odd dude. He is supposed to be on a mission from God, as a matter of fact. He's a member of the clergy. But yeah. So they hate church. I talked to Alice about this today. It's just so funny. Growing up, I went to the First Congregational Church in Winchester, and that was the Protestant, the WASPy church, nice looking church, prettiest church in town. And even back then, the Reverend Davis, who I know Julie and Phil know, Reverend Davis, it was kind of a swinging situation. It was progressive, actually. He came to our house with a guitar, and he would do sermons with things like telling us how Christianity was like a box of Raisin Bran, and he'd bring in Raisin Bran. So it certainly wasn't Orthodox, which is the hardcore, uncut stuff, Christianity, and it wasn't the Catholic Mass with the Eucharist and the ups and downs and the this thing and that, and so it's much easier. Also, unlike the Orthodox Church, where Alice goes to, and I have gone to, the Protestant Church, you were in at 10, out at 11, and then drinking in the patio, orange juice mixed with ginger ale or whatever they had, and eating hors d'oeuvres, exactly at 11 to 11:30. It was a fine-tuned machine, and it was very social, about being social. And not that the Orthodox isn't too; they actually party pretty nicely. But now that church is it's a total rainbow church, and I assume just like with Tallarico now, they've just taken the Jesus right out of it. Okay, I'm not even a Christian, but I want there to be Christianity. I think that's a good value system. I don't believe it or not believe it, and I don't like the hubris and arrogance of atheists who think that they're very clever for not believing in an ark and two animals, and so I don't want to be with those people. But yeah, this guy, all these fake clergy, and all, by the way, there's probably freaking drag queens in there now. Okay. Okay. This lady's going very viral. Jedediah Bila. No, actually, I'll save this for after the Patreon. It's about sex, so it's controversial. That stuff I'll save. Yeah, I'll save Lena Dunham for after that. And there's Elmo for after Patreon. It's not everything, though. Don't worry about it. Oh, Jeremy Boring. Jeremy Boring. Hey, I wanted to play this because we've heard from a lot of you guys who consider yourselves boomers, sick of taking a beating, including from Alice Shattuck, by the way. And Jeremy Boring, the guy, one of the co-founder of the Daily Wire, actually takes a moment here to praise the boomers. And this guy's a millennial / Gen X guy. I've always liked him. He got canned at the Daily Wire. I think they spent too much or expanded too much anyway. But listen to this.
When the boomers came of age, they got drafted and sent to Vietnam. It wasn't a volunteer army. They got, pulled out of their life against their will, shipped overseas to Southeast Asia, and 58,000 of them died.
The older boomers, yes.
The older boomers. 58,000 of them were killed in Vietnam. That's 10 war on terror. That's the.
First of all, I don't know if she says the older boomers. Does she mean not the people? Because boomers is a word you just throw around for a person like over 50 now. If you were going into Vietnam, you were a boomer. If you were born in 1942, then you could be a boomer, and that's 1962. Vietnam really was, for the most part, a little bit later. So I don't like her not knowing what she's talking about. Is what I'm saying. But we're going to go back to Jeremy Boring.
Casualty count of 10 Iraq and Afghanistan's. In the most formative moment of that generation's existence. And you go, oh, well, the boomers made a lot of mistakes, no-fault divorce. Pretty terrible. Has some pretty terrible consequences. And yet the idea that we sit in judgment of them as though our hands are clean, as though we can see our own flaws, the funny thing about eyes is they only look out and we never see our mistakes. And, as Dennis Prager has said in the past, the commandment to honor thy father and mother is the only one of the commandments that comes with a reason, that your days will be long in the land. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days will be long in the land. You can't have a country if you hate the people who gave it to you. You can't have a country if you tear down all the wisdom that has been bequeathed to you, if you tear down all the structures that have been bequeathed to you. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be critical of the mistakes of the generations that went before us. Of course we should. But we should understand those mistakes before we're so quick to throw out all that great wisdom that's also been handed down through history to us. And so, on one hand, I see that as a place where we can be really critical of ourselves, and we should be, and we should stop saying, okay, boomer, and we should be more respectful to the people who've given us our country. At the same time, as you reflect on the challenges that the boomers faced and the things that they actually went on to accomplish, yes, myriad failures. We're going to have myriad failures too. Humongous successes. The 20th century, the second half of the 20th century is the greatest period of peace and prosperity in all of human history. It's never happened before. And you just think, well, what can we do, having been given this time of peace and prosperity, having had the blessing of coming of age in a time of peace and prosperity? I know people like, there's wisdom in the idea that, good times make weak men, and weak men make bad times, and bad times make good, that whole sort of continuum that gets parroted online. Of course, there's wisdom to it. But if you take that to its natural conclusion, then you should hope not to give your children good times, which of course is not what any of us hope. We're motivated by wanting to give our children the best possible life, the best possible future, the best possible opportunity. The Bible doesn't say fathers exacerbate the frustrations of your children. It says fathers don't exacerbate your sons. Don't make their lives worse. Don't lead them into exasperation. It says that a wise man provides an inheritance for his children and his grandchildren. Of course we're supposed to leave a better life for our children and for our grandchildren. And so in that way, the boomers, despite their failures, gave us a lot of at least material success to work with.
That's in the Blaze, by the way. There's a lot of good parts of this Jeremy Boring interview that I thought was thoughtful, including on how to be a good manager. And I thought this was very interesting, having been a manager myself, and I know a lot of you guys have been. He mentions essentially, maybe I'll find this in the Patreon. He mentions essentially that sometimes being a manager is simply making a decision. And sometimes that decision turns out to be bad, but people come to you as a leader when you're a manager for a decision. So you've got to look them in the eyes. You've got to show resolve if you're ever in person. You got to make a decision. And they're going to say aye, and they're going to storm the mountain, with that you told them to storm. And sometimes it goes totally sideways, and sometimes it doesn't. But it is like a core part of leadership that you have to make a decision. And that's what sucks about being a manager. That's what gives you, like, one of the things that gives you, guys know, and you ladies know, it gives you anxiety, but you've got to make a decision, and that's what keeps you up at night. And that's why you have the P card, that allows you to get a chicken parm every month or every 3 weeks, to sneak one in under a business lunch. It's like the P card's not worth it. And I used to envy people who used to have a P card before I got a P card, and I thought to myself, wow, this is not worth the price, man. Like, it's, the more responsibility you get, that's how life works, Like, the way you progress is when you have all the cool trappings, but but you're too busy or it's not as if it was just given to you. You've worked for it or progressed there. And so, yeah, it's great, but you don't really notice it anymore. It's just part of getting old, I guess, too. You just don't notice the cool stuff anymore. Like, I've got this guy it's really a successful, finance guy in Winchester who I went to high school with. He married the prettiest girl in the class, and they've got this life, and she's always doing remodel stuff to the house and taking pictures of it. I can imagine people just hate them, but they seem like they're nice people, and you can just tell, like, they've got beautiful kids. The house is beautiful. It's in Winchester. They've got the nice cars. They take awesome vacations. He's winning awards left and right, like. But you can just tell, like, he's got all the toys and all the stuff. Guy works 100 hours a week. It's like, yeah, he's got the stuff, but he's busting his ass. You never just get the stuff without the busting the ass. And it's just not perfect. And, so anyway, I would take it if he gave it to me, though. Okay, let us go to the chat, shall we? Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm supposed to get my new Wegovy. I need a bigger dose of Wegovy. Like, this is why I've gotten so fat, because first of all, as of 3 years, things became less than ideal in my own life a few years ago. Made it very hard to limit my food and liquid intake. Oh no, I should say it made it very easy to find a reason to increase my food and liquid intake. I'll say it that way. As life does, right? And so, and then what happened then was when we had Peter, I was watching the baby more, and because of the way I couldn't walk as much, and then I threw caution to the wind, and I just started eating fast food, and you kill walk. This has happened to me before in my life. I killed walking, and I ate fast food, and I ballooned up. It just doesn't take much. I have very good physiology for gaining weight. I'm sure a lot of you are like this too. Like, unless you're watching it, unless you're trying to lose weight, you'll gain. But yes, so now, and then I got Wegovy a couple months ago, and I'm like, okay, now I can be my worst self, and this thing's just going to fix it all. And it didn't. It's just like, okay, we're not, you're still, or I broke through it, or I'm just an asshole. Oh, whatever it is. Anyway, so I have a new thing of Wegovy coming. It's supposed to be more powerful. The idea is that I just want it to take away my decision-making process. I am not responsible enough to be an adult who decides what intake I have. I'm just not. Maybe I am, and I'm just pathetic. Look at this. I'm giving the boomer stuff, and I can't help but get fat. Oh, I need to be incarcerated and then beat on badly. Okay. Let's see. 2 messages here.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Hey, Billy.
Well, to quote Nathan R. Jessup from A Few Good Men, don't I feel like the fucking asshole?
Why?
I did not realize that Steve from Airmac made that reference off the cuff and not from Curb. I mean, it's a classic Curb. Jason Alexander writes a book. He throws a book party. And of course, Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld pick it up and say, it's really not a book. It's more of a pamphlet. And I just figured that was the case. But it's the same thing, though. Tom's book about Dr. Dan is going to be that. It's going to be more of an essay than a pamphlet, in my opinion. But still, kudos to Steve for calling out this fraud. 38 seconds. 42 seconds.
How dare you? But you know what, Billy? You have inspired me. What if I have an AI write the book about Dr. Dan? A bunch of people on Facebook have described already what's going on. Let's have AI write it, put my name to it. Bingo. Maybe it'll take off. Maybe people want to hear stories of kids in rich towns being brutalized by a dentist. Maybe they do. Maybe that's all they need. I don't know anymore. I don't get it. People like odd stuff now, and I just don't. I don't get it. In the pop culture stuff, I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm, and like you guys, I'm sure. Like I don't know who anybody famous is anymore. I don't know why I'm supposed to like Timothée Chalamet. I don't know what he looks like or what he does. I don't know why people go to see Spider-Man movie. I don't get it. I don't get anything. I don't understand at all. And I also think like even like Roblox, which is a kid's game, it was like it's not a great game, but kids love it. Ugh.
Hey, Tom from Thomason.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, I looked up on Tomopedia, and Cole Porter was born to 2 free slaves.
Oh.
And they lived in a little cabin and did sharecropping. And he wrote most of his songs while he was out in the fields helping his parents.
Wow.
25.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I had no idea until it was during a show, I think, that I've discovered that he was a black guy. I was calling, who did I call somebody else black, but he wasn't. But yeah. Yeah, he's great. He's great. That's back to the, you wait, you watch as soon as that this redistricting is going to be very good for black Americans because they've been treated like a special case and really compromised and really oppressed with compassion, that has them living in the worst neighborhoods with the worst services, with the worst schools, and with a hard path out of there. And that and the left has also pushed the culture on them where, there's many kids where it's just simply not cool and street cool to have good grades and speak well. It's just it. But that's going to change. I think that's going to change. Okay. Hold on. What did he do there? Okay. For those of you who are listening for free, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. That's going to be the end of the show. If I can find the music, that'll be the end of the show. Here it is. Here's that. So for you guys who are not Patreon members, this is the end of the show. For you guys who are Patreon members, we got more to talk about. Now, I'm never going to do, by the way, Jonah Goldberg just started putting this stuff behind a paywall. He only gives you 20 minutes. I want to do a free show, but I do appreciate the Patreon folks as well. And I know that money is not easy to come by. So. Thank you, by the way, for being so great. Check out my cool AI in the food show.
C'est la